All right, hello everybody on YouTube, and just as promised, we are back with the breakdown strategy guide for the Ninja. And the Ninja is probably one of my favorite characters. Well, definitely is one of my favorite characters. She might be in my top 3, definitely top 5. I don't know exactly where I want to place her yet, but she's up there for these specific reasons. One is she's extremely consistent. She does a really good amount of damage due to all of her status effect damage tokens. She's got this delayed poison. She also has her ninjutsu tokens, which can tack on delayed poisons as well, depending on what your rider dice rolls are for that token when you spend it. Or it adds damage, or it can make your attacks undefendable. So she has a lot of consistent damage in her kit. Her board dice ability combinations are extremely easy to roll for. She has the 3-2-1 dice face configuration, which makes it extremely easy also to roll for. So she has like a double whammy of easy roll objectives with easy dice to use, and she has really these two damage token, additional damage tokens are really easy to apply as well and gain. So she just has really consistent damage. She doesn't have any real, her defensive ability, we'll get into, it doesn't have any block damage. She only deals damage on all of her offensive rolls or gains tokens. Now, where does she get her mitigation from? Well, her mitigation comes from her smoke bombs. And let me tell you, this is probably my favorite evasive type token because it works 50% of the time. So you can spend it, roll, and on a 1 through 3, you avoid all damage. So yeah, when a player with this token receives damage, they may choose to spend it. If spent, you roll 1 die on a 1, 2, or 3. You receive no damage, although other associated effects will still apply. So if they do get like a negative status effect on you, you still receive those status effects, but that's okay. Literally receiving 50% damage when you have a token on average with this token is insane. That means that if you use at least 2 of these tokens, you're going to succeed at least once in a game, and you will be using more than 2 per game. So this is going to be going off at least once every game. And you pick your spots when you want to use it. You want to use it on your like 8+ damage attacks that you're going to be receiving. The cool thing about it too is that you can use the token, and if it succeeds, you can still roll your defense ability to deal damage. So let's go ahead and just, I guess we'll just read through these and then get right into our board. So delayed poison, you have a stack limit of 2, and then the enemy who you put this on will receive 3 damage at the end of their turn, at the conclusion. So it can get up to 6 damage when you stack 2 of them, but it's at the end of their turn. So they can get rid of it throughout their turn if they draw into any status effect removal cards, or if they themselves have like a cleanse, or situations where some characters can get rid of it pretty easily. So I will say that she doesn't do really well against people who can get rid of this easily, because she doesn't deal very, very high damage. She deals very consistent damage, and a lot of it is consistently undefendable. She needs that extra little oomph from the delayed poison to really pick up on the pace on her damage. But she can even it out with her smoke bomb, which we just discussed. So last thing is her ninjutsu tokens. You can get up to 3 of those and hold 3 of them at a time. After attacking a player with this token, you can spend it to roll 1 die. A 1, 2, or 3, you will add 1 damage. So on your swords, your katanas, or I guess katana's the samurai, your ninjato, I think that's how you say it, ninjatos, you add 1 damage. On your shurikens, you add 2 damage, and then on a 6, you get to pick what you want. I love the optionality here. So you can either increase it by 2 damage again, inflict delayed poisons, or you can make your attack undefendable. So if your attack isn't already undefendable, which she has quite a few undefendable attacks on her base board, you can make it undefendable that way. So with your ninjutsu tokens. So let's go over here to the left. Let's look at her base attack. Slash, so it's a 5, 6, 7. Pretty average, pretty standard. We don't want to be going into this a whole bunch. Really, that's not what you're wanting to do with her. Really, you actually want the shurikens. You want these your 4s and your 5s. So when you roll with her, you're going to be holding your 4s and your 5s. Your swords will come to you, but you need to hold your 4s and your 5s because you have 3 abilities that kind of hinge on your 4s and 5s. This is just your backup roll. Sometimes you'll be rolling it if you're maxed out on ninjutsu tokens, because you can buff it up and then make it undefendable with the possibility there. So this is an easy to roll for objective. Here's the upgrade. It's worth 2 CP. It increases all damage except for the very lowest by 1, which is weird. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't increase the middle. It just creates the top portion. It actually goes down on the lowest portion. So it goes from 5 to 4, it stays at 6 in the middle, and it goes from 7 to 8 on the very top. And then on 3 of a kind, you can get another ninjutsu token, or ninjutsu, whatever. It's okay. You all know what I mean. It's worth 2 CP. It's kind of expensive because she doesn't have any economy. The 3 of a kind is nice, but she doesn't have reroll on this ability, which is kind of shocking because a lot of her abilities do have, you may reroll a die to kind of get an outcome that you want, which is, yeah, it's kind of annoying, I guess. I guess because it's, in order to activate the ability, you have to activate the ability. So you get to reroll on like the riders on a lot of her other abilities, but this one doesn't have a rider, so that's probably why it doesn't have a reroll. Anyway, regardless, on 3 of a kind, you do get the ninjutsu. I would say this is majority of the time going to be a sell. You're not really going for slashes, hardly ever. You really just use it on the backup, and if it's a backup roll and you have to use the 3, you know, you're actually lowering your damage here. So this is in an awkward spot. I almost always sell this card. Whatever. I sell it, okay? Sell it like 80% of the time, is what I'm saying. CP is better. Let's go over to Walk the Line now. Walk the Line, you roll 2 dice, you deal 2 and then you deal damage equal to the total roll of the value of the dice. So 2 dice is going to average around 7. If it's less than 6, you see this, if the final roll is 6 or less, the attack becomes undefendable. So here's this undefendable portion. Her upgrade here, let me get the upgrade. So this is a good ability. You're basically either going to be dealing undefendable damage or you're going to be dealing average to above average damage. It does average, the average dice rolls will be around 7, which is the worst case scenario. But because literally every other option is a decent option, this is a good roll 4 objective. Now it's kind of hard to get. That's you have to get 4 4s, 4 5s, or 2 4s and 2 5s, or whatever combination, 3 5s, 1 4, 3 4s, 1 5. It's kind of hard to roll for. That's why I say you want to hold your shurikens, because you've got this one helps with the shurikens. This one is good when you have a bunch of shurikens, and this one's good when you have at least 2 shurikens. So you need 2 shurikens here, 2 shurikens here. It even kind of works with your straights here. You can get a 4 5 6, you know, kind of a situation. So your shurikens are your primary hold dice, just to kind of push for all 3 of these abilities at the same time. So here's the upgrade. It is 2 CP, but it gives you, it's the same situation. You still get only 2 dice roll, and then you add up whatever the damage will be, but you may re-roll one of your dice when you get this. So the problem is you're not going to be activating this ability a whole lot. It doesn't come to you extremely often. Tip of the blade is very mid. It's basically this, but with only 1 dice. So you roll 1 die and then deal pure damage equal to the die roll, and that's going to average 3. 3 pure damage is not very good. I don't typically like playing this card, but because of your roll strategy with this character where you hold the shurikens, you might want to play it. Totally up to you. If you do get it out there and you do activate this at least once or twice, and you do get to use that reroll, and you can like push, like, you know, you make sure that it's a 6 undefendable in those situations where you want it to be undefendable, or you make sure that you're dealing 9+ damage because you have like a 5 and then you rolled a 1 and you're like, oh, maybe I don't want undefendable here. So you reroll that 1 and then you get like a 3 and you make sure it's like 8+, and then you got ninjutsu tokens or whatever. It gives a lot of flexibility to this ability. It's just the fact that the unlikely die face is kind of hard to roll for. It's not super hard, but it's kind of hard. So you're basically going to be activating it once or twice in a typical game. And if you don't get this upgrade early, it really just doesn't help you mid to late game, because then you have to like push for it, like force this. And due to her lack of economy, like I've already talked about, you don't want to be trying to push for something like this when it's late game. You basically want to be getting what you can and get your guaranteed stuff. She's a very consistent character. She's not like this character that goes crazy. Although that is probably her strongest ability if you do get a high enough damage on it. So it is what it is. Let's move down here. I guess I didn't have to go that crazy on it. I just moved that board way too far. Death Blossom thing. This is nice. I really like this ability because it's slightly easier to roll this than the typical of these dice combinations. Usually it's 2 swords and then 3 of the shurikens. But for her, it's 3 swords and 2 shurikens, so it makes it a little easier. So she has an easy to roll for objective here. And then you roll, when you get it, you roll 5 dice, and then you just add up the damage. So on your swords, you add 1 damage per sword, and then on your shurikens, you add 2 damage per shuriken. And then if you roll a 6, this attack becomes undefendable. This is pretty good. This is pretty solid ability. Here's the upgrade. It is 2 CP, cost you 2. What it does is it adds, you may re-roll up to 2 dice, which is really good. And then on 2 6s, you may inflict a delayed poison. So that's really good. So let's say you roll 2 6s, you'll make the attack undefendable. You inflict a delayed poison, and then let's say the rest of them are just the swords. So you only deal 3 damage. Well, you can still re-roll some of these dice if you really want to. You can re-roll the swords. I would just re-roll up to 2 of those swords, and then you're increasing your likelihood of getting your shurikens. Now, if you do get another 6, it kind of wastes your other 6 if you already rolled 2 6s in the beginning, but there's flexibility on this ability. This is kind of similar to Walk the Line. It's 2 CP. If it was 1 man, I'd really do it, but it's just too good for it to only cost 1 CP. The reroll of 2 dice is really, really good. It's very solid. It basically will guarantee that this will become undefendable and or increase your damage output that you're doing. I want to say maybe it's worth the upgrade. But many times, man, like I said, she doesn't have any economy. Many times you're going to be needing to sell. Unless you get this like turn 1 and you're just going to be rolling for this all game. So it's going to be a sell for me. All right, last left-hand ability, Smoke Screen. This is your stockpile on your status effect token ability. This is what you're going to be using maybe every other turn or every third turn. You want to be using this a lot because it gives you your ninjutsu tokens and inflicts delayed poison. So it's not like you're taking a turn off of damage. They still have to figure out what they're going to do with your delayed poison on the damage and you're getting your smoke bomb. Smoke bomb is vitally important for the ninja. Extremely, extremely important because she, like I said, she doesn't mitigate damage any other way. So it's actually a pretty easy dice combination to roll, and it works well with straights. So you can get like a 3, 4, 5, 6. If you don't want this, you can use a straight. So it has some fallbacks and some combinations and stuff. It's not very, very hard to roll for. It's actually a really good ability. And here's the upgrade. Now this, always buy. Always. What it does is it's 2 CP, gives you 1 extra ninjutsu token, and then it also gives you this Kuji Curry. This is why you're also, if you ever get this, you're playing it right, obviously. But this is another reason why you always hold your shuriken. This ability is ridiculous. It says deal 4 pure damage to 2 chosen opponents. It may be the same opponent twice. So this is basically 8 pure damage. Now you can't modify the damage. With pure damage can't be attack modified with ninjutsu tokens, but 8 pure damage is really good. It's still super strong. So it's a really good fallback. It's a good finisher option. It's super solid. Like 2 6s and then 3 shurikens. Like if you're going for ultimates and you miss, you can kind of fall back onto this sometimes. So it's a very good option. I say that you play this almost always. And almost any stage of the game. The only time I wouldn't play it is if it's like the last 2 turns of the game maybe, and I need the 2 CP to play like dice mod cards to make sure that I survive another turn or to push for an ult or to push for finisher. So almost always play this. All right, let's go to the right. All right, here we go. Poison Blade. So this is your small straight. If you add up the damage, it's 8 for a small straight, which is just above average. That's pretty good, actually. Most small straights are around 7. But typically they'll be like 7 with like a rider, or 6 and not a rider, a 7 and like an additional token or something that they give you, or 6 and additional tokens that they give you. So this is somewhat average, slightly above it if the poison goes through. I don't mind this ability. It's not something I'm going for. I'm typically going for all the right-hand abilities, or left-hand abilities. I'm sorry, all the left-handed abilities over here. But it's good enough. The upgrade actually makes this ability pretty solid. It's only 1 CP as well. So on this, you get to roll one of these 1 die. On a sword, you inflict a delayed poison, and then on a 4, 5, or 6, you inflict 2 delayed poisons. So you have a 50% chance to actually double up on your delayed poison. Now it's not always going to happen, and so the 1 CP and 1 card, it's a 50-50 again. She's like in these weird spots where like it could be worth it if you get the ability and it actually goes off. You are going to be kind of chance rolling into small straights pretty frequently. Just in Dice Throne in general, this is one of the more likely dice combinations for you to get into with all 3 rolls. The issue is like it's not guaranteed. If this was a guaranteed like add another delayed poison, I would definitely say do it all day. But because it's not, and it doesn't even increase the base damage, it still stays at 5. I think you got to sell this, man, most of the time. Unless you get a turn 1 and you know you're going to be kind of just rolling for straights and stuff, and that's your play style. Otherwise, I think you sell this. Okay. Going over to, actually, let's go over to Large Straight. Large Straight, so you gain 2 ninjutsu tokens, and then you deal 8 damage flat. This is a nice ability because you can use your ninjutsu tokens immediately when you have them. The nice thing about this ability is that you gain 2 ninjutsu tokens and then you deal flat 8 damage. So it gives you the chance to use your ninjutsu tokens to try to push for undefendable, or make it broken and hit for like 10 plus damage. And I know 10 plus damage on a Large Straight isn't necessarily broken, but you know what I'm saying. You can make it above average. So it's already above average in my opinion. With at base, it's a very good Large Straight, I think. Here's the upgrade. Okay, so you gain a smoke bomb. That's invaluable. And then you gain misdirect, which is you also gain a smoke bomb and then deal 2 undefendable damage as well. So it's the likelihood of you rolling Large Straights isn't exactly super duper likely, but it's not unlikely. It's like everything else, man. This character is just so kind of mid. It's like it's sort of just whatever you get first in the first few turns of your of the game. Like how does it play out? You got to just play what comes to you with this character. So if you get this in the first few turns and you're going to be trying to roll for straights a lot, you might as well just be pushing for it. I don't know. You don't want to get, you don't want to whiff, but she has easy roll objectives to fall back on if you do miss. I like this ability simply because it gives you that extra one, little fallback, and dealing 2 undefendable is not terrible with her, especially if you have ninjutsu tokens, and gaining smoke bomb is always good. This adds two more abilities to gain smoke bomb. Gaining smoke bomb is extremely important with this character. I think this, due to that alone, I think this is worth it most of the time. So like maybe 60% of the time, because you're always going to be wanting to have smoke bomb if you can every turn, or every other turn. And the only other way to gain it besides this upgrade card is going to be your defense ability on double 6, and then your ultimate and mini ult, and then this one, smoke screen. Smoke screen is easy to roll for, and you can get it typically off of this, but a lot of times you don't want to be doing smoke screen 2 turns in a row, because you'll already be maxed out on ninjutsu tokens at that point after doing it once, and then you want to spend your ninjutsu tokens, so you don't want to be using this every turn. So having a different variable option to deal damage with your ninjutsu tokens after a smoke screen, and then still gain smoke bomb, it's sort of useful here. So I actually do think you play this majority of the time. It's situational, but so not always. So like 60% of the time you're going to play it, 40% of the time you're going to sell it. And that's obviously within the whole game state. Like if it's early in the game, you're going to play it. Maybe even mid you play it, because smoke bomb is just so important for this character. But late game, yeah, probably not, unless you're leaning on that smoke bomb. But yeah, I mean, smoke bomb, dude. This character lives and dies by pretty much. All right. Now the last 2 over here. Shade Walk, her mini ult. You gain smoke bomb, inflict delayed poison, and then you deal 6 undefendable. At first glance, this looks a little weak, kind of, but when you start to look at it again, this is technically 3 damage with the delayed poison if it goes through. So that's 9 undefendable damage, and then you have a smoke bomb, which can block on average like 5. I don't know what you want to 4, I guess, if you want to average it out, because average damage is like 8, and it's going to work half the time. So this is a 4 plus 3 plus 6. Average damage. I guess delayed poison might not work half the time, so I guess that could be 1.5. So that's like 7.5 plus 4. What is that? 11.5. It's an 11.5 top right. It's pretty good. Now you're not gonna be getting it all the time. It's a mini ult. You get pushed to it when you try to go for the ult and it doesn't work. All that jazz, and it is what it is. It's still good. I know a lot of people they don't like having value tied up in their tokens all that much. To me, I would rather have an above average, mini ult with token value wrapped up in there than a below average to average mini ult with only damage. especially with this character, she already gets so much consistent, undefendable damage anyway. You want Smoke Bomb, right? You want that thing that she kind of needs. So what does she not do extremely well? And that's damage mitigation. So let's go to the upgrade. It is 2 CP. It does increase it increases the amount of delayed poisons by 1 guaranteed, but it decreases your damage by 1. So why did they do this? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know. Most top rights you're not going to be getting anyway. So it's weird. It's weird. It adds Jugulate for when you don't get it, which will get, max you out on your Ninjutsu tokens, and then you do inflict a poison, which, I don't know, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's not great. You could look at it as like, I don't know, averaging this out to like 2 damage and averaging that out to 3 or 1.5. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1.5. It's, I don't know, 7.5. It's not bad, but it's over, whether or not all that stuff goes through. And it's not even on the turn that you activate, it's the next turn. So I don't know. This one, yeah, I don't know. Your discretion. Honestly, I don't care for Jugulate. I don't care for lowering my undefendable damage guaranteed. I'm going to sound hypocritical as if, like this is still an above average top right, but all of it's tied up in this poison. Like, why'd they do that? I don't know. After I just went on my spiel of how I like the base ability, it's just that it doesn't add much for you. And it's kind of expensive for her. So honestly, I sell this most of the time. Like general, like I usually sell the top rights most of the time, but that's just my playstyle. All right, lastly, her defense. So you roll 3 die. You on a sword, you deal 1 damage back, and on a shuriken, you deal 2 damage back. On 2 6s, you gain Smoke Bomb, and then you may reroll one of these dice on base. That is pretty crazy. Having a reroll on base is nuts, I think. It almost can guarantee you to get the shuriken when you want it. So like a lot of times you're going to be rolling 3 swords, and that's only 1 damage back because it's only on. You don't add it up; it's only on. So if you roll 3 swords, it's literally only 1 damage. So you're going to be rolling one of your swords again just to go for that shuriken, and most of the time you will get that shuriken. So it's gonna average around 2 damage, but on those scenarios where you get the Smoke Bomb, might as well use your Smoke Bomb that you have in store, and then get this back again, to see if you dodge their attack, or if you do dodge their attack, then you have this Smoke Bomb for next turn anyway. Or if you don't dodge it, then you can use the Smoke Bomb again. So there's some cheeky things you can do with this defense to where you have 2 Smoke Bombs on the defense if you roll 2 6s, as long as you have at least 1 Smoke Bomb on you in store, which I typically try to do with this character. This character is super good at dodging damage when you just always hold that 1 Smoke Bomb. It also makes your opponents play differently. Like if you're always holding Smoke Bomb, then they can't use all the removal on your delayed poison, so that damage is going to go through. So they have to kind of target your Smoke Bombs, because if they don't take care of those Smoke Bombs, you're just going to dodge their damage. It will happen, and they will get frustrated. So here's the upgrade, 2 CP. Now it does add, for every sword you can add 1 more damage. So instead of only 1 damage when you have 3 swords, it would be 3 damage when you have 3 swords now. And then this stays unfortunately, so the shurikens are still only 2 damage whenever you roll however many. And then same thing, Smoke Bomb gets gained, but but it does increase. You may re-roll up to 2 of these dice this time. So I struggle with this again. This is a similar situation. It's like down the middle of the road. Like I could see it being really good when you get Smoke Bomb and then Smoke Bomb succeeds. But at the same time, the only time it's actually going to gain value outside of that instance when you're going for Smoke Bombs is if you just re-roll one of your you're re-rolling your swords to get that shuriken. And you already have that on base. It's kind of almost guaranteed that you'll be doing 3 damage even on base. So here's my stipulation. Let me go ahead and go here. You want to play one of these 2. You do want to play one of these 2 abilities. Let me get them both in the frame here. So I just bumped my camera too. You want to play one of these 2. And if you get both, that's fine too. Literally, Smoke Bomb is the bread and butter of this character. That's how I play her. Everything else just happens and comes to you, and it just works. Smoke Bomb is the thing that you have to try to work around and force. So these are usually worth playing just for that scenario alone, to increase your likelihood of gaining Smoke Bomb and frequency of it, and then utilizing it. So I would say these are more than often worth playing just for that alone. But it's up to you. If you don't really think Smoke Bomb's all that good and you want a more prioritize other things, sell them. You know, sell these cards. But that's how I like to play the ninja, is really relying on my smoke bombs. All right. And her ultimate, finally. Let's get into it here. So inflict delayed poison on 2 chosen opponents. It may be the same opponent twice, gain smoke bomb, and then deal 10 undefendable damage. This, at first glance, is the same situation as her top right. It kind of looks weak at first, but then when you read into it, if you get both of those delayed poisons off, that's 16 damage. That's game changing. And then gaining smoke bomb, if you actually end up dodging one of their attacks, you know, on average, it's going to be an 8. If you do dodge 8 of that, this is a delta swing of 24 damage. If you look at it that way, this ult is insane if everything works out. And we try to play in a way to make this work out when we do get it. It's good. It's good. Every ultimate's good. This one's really good. I really like this ultimate. The only thing I would say they would have increased it is like make you have at least gain 1 ninjutsu token, but that would have made this ult cracked. It would have been insane. But yeah, no, it's good. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just roll. Try to give you like an idea of how I play the character. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, zoom back in, and we'll go ahead and roll, and then I'll show you what I'm activating with her and stuff. Try to give you some options, like a typical roll. So, all right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 5, right? So what I can do is I'm gonna hold here. We do have the triple swords, and this is our first roll. I would say in this situation, it's kind of weird because you don't have the small straight yet. Maybe you roll for that small straight, but what I typically do is I just, you know, I hold my shurikens and I roll everything. If you like to play the straights and want to play a little bit with that, go ahead, be my guest. Or if you just want to be super conservative, super safe, you can go for your slash. I like to try to push for the shurikens. So especially if it's the first turn, you don't have any of your tokens stacked up, you want to hit smokescreen. So let's go ahead and roll again. Okay, now we have this. I will settle for this. This is fine. Even though I don't have smokescreen, we'll go ahead and settle for this and go for that. We still have a chance to make it undefendable, so we won't receive any defensive damage, and it deals a good amount of damage. Let's see what we would get on that. Okay, look at that. That's actually kind of nuts. Wow, that's a lot of damage right there. Now, it's not undefendable, unfortunately, but that is 8 damage just flat. Actually, 9 damage flat. So you see the potential of this. Let's go again to kind of just give you like an idea of like what we're trying to go for, what we're trying to do. And right there, boom, settle for smokescreen immediately. Go ahead and just take that. We want to load up for next turn and make sure that we got those smoke bombs, right? We always want to get smoke bomb. Prioritize smoke bomb. You don't have smoke bomb, you need it. So, I don't know. I love this character. That's kind of her in a nutshell. She's really good. She's got some cheeky things with her unique cards. I know I didn't go over those. I typically don't in these strategy guides. I just go over like the roll objectives and how to roll on that strategy front. Next up will probably be, I don't know. I'm trying to think who else some of my favorite characters are. It'll be a surprise. But thanks for watching, guys. Keep grinding. Go out there and peace out.